Good evening, Dodger fans. Thank you for tuning in to the Game 1 post-game show of the Incline Dodgers podcast of the 2025 World Series. We are presented by BLEAV and TickPick. Jake, this was a very tough one to swallow. The Dodgers got absolutely boat raced tonight in Toronto. They lose 11-4 to the Toronto Blue Jays. Where do you want to start for this absolute embarrassment of a shit show we had to sit through this evening?
What's interesting about this game is that it's almost like a tale of two halves, because with the way it started for the Dodgers, it was kind of magic. Like, they jumped out to an early lead, which is what we talked about in our preview episode. That was kind of the goal that I was looking for, to see if the Dodgers could get the bats going earlier in the game to give Snell enough of a lead to kind of just cruise through the rest of the game. And to be honest, they should have definitely scored more than 2 runs. They had opportunities early. We can get into all the details of where they should have capitalized and all of that. They had Yasevich on the ropes and just could not really get to him. And so, yeah, a 2-0 lead against a potent offense at home, a Blue Jays team that kind of never dies, is just not enough. And obviously it was not enough, because Snell, even before the bad 6th inning, Snell gave up the game tying 2-run shot to Dalton Varsho. And at that point it was like, okay, well, this offense better wake up. And then they just never did. And yeah, just a really bad game, a really bad gut punch. I mean, loss is a loss, right? So it's like, even if it was a close loss or a blowout loss, it's still a loss. And it's an opportunity for the Dodgers to really motivate themselves and win game 2 to get that split before going back to Los Angeles.
It's been a couple of years since we've had a spanking like that in a playoff
Arizona
game. That's what I was thinking. I can't even remember the last time we got absolutely just like annihilated in a World Series game. None of them are coming to me, because I feel like normally
the Yankees got to us in one of the games last year, and it was kind of one of those punt games. So, but this was not a punt game. Yeah, it was just a loss.
This is a game 1. This is you want to set the tone, and I honestly, there's a few things that pissed me off tonight, but I feel like the tide really turned when Andy Pages struck out with Edman was on first base, Kike was on second, Muncy was on third. You had the bases loaded. Andy Pages had a 3-2 count, like you were talking about. Yasevich, he was on the ropes. This was your chance to knock him out, or at the very least, just get a sacrifice fly. That's all I'm asking. Don't strike out with Shohei Ohtani right behind you. And Ohtani had an opportunity himself, but he didn't come through. But nonetheless, you're up 1-0 at this point. You can put kind of a small dagger in Yasevich and start to shake his confidence. And it's a 3-2 pitch, and it's a slider or a secondary splitter, whatever. Wasn't even close. It wasn't even in the strike zone. And Andy Pages, we've been talking about it all season long. Whatever is in this guy's head, he dumbs down. He's allergic to walks. He just swings and chases no matter what. Even if it's a 3-2 count, he will not walk, and it pisses me off. His approach has been dog shit all postseason long, and you have to put him in the lineup, I think, tomorrow. But my goodness, this is the first time I'm legitimately furious with Andy Pages.
Yeah, we talked about it. The key role for a number 9 hitter, which I've been arguing is not Andy Pages. He just isn't the prototype for a 9-hole hitter. With how the game has evolved and changed, and the construction of lineups have changed, where your best hitter is hitting first in a lot of these lineups, like Ohtani, as opposed to back in the day, he was hitting 3rd or 4th. You got to turn that lineup over. And what's interesting, if you look back at that at bat, Kevin, you were right. The last pitch was a slider. The pitch before was a 4-seam fastball that was below the zone that Andy Pages laid off. And I actually thought it was a great take by him. And then the next pitch was even lower than that. At that point, it's like, don't you just take a chance and just lay off that pitch? If you strike out looking, okay, you may have gotten fooled or whatever, and you avoid the double play as it was. but swinging there, you just can't do it. You just can't do it because the ultimate goal, right, is that if you're not going to hit a sac fly, you're at least going to get out so that Ohtani has a shot. And in that inning, they got one run because of that Kike Hernandez RBI hit.
Yep.
But in that inning, they should have gotten at least 3 because if Paz takes the walk there, that walks in a run.
Yeah.
And let's say Ohtani does exactly what he did in his at-bat, which was hit a deep ground ball to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first. That's another run that'll come across the score. And so there you go. You have second and third and 2 outs at that point, and you got 3 runs across. That's the kind of stuff that you just have to execute in those situations because that's the ball game. You may not get a better chance after that, and they didn't.
Yeah, I just don't get the thought process. I don't get the execution or lack thereof. Like, he's not going to throw you a fastball down the middle on a 3-2 count. He's going to live and die with the slider because he knows if he throws a fastball to Pages in the zone, he's going to unload on that pitch. That's just common sense here. And we talked about, I think, a couple days ago with Yasevich, I said that his secondary stuff probably will be shaky because he's going to be nervous and he's not going to have great command because of the magnitude of the moment. And that very much was the case in his outing. He was not impressive by any stretch. He's lucky he only gave up 2 earned runs because there were a few opportunities, including Shohei, who I don't think you can let off the hook either with his stinker tonight. I don't care that he had a garbage time home run. It's surprising to me that we actually were 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position because it felt like we were honestly like 1 for 11 and the Blue Jays were 3 for 5. So it's not even that big of a disparity. It's just the fact that the Blue Jays executed on offense while the Dodgers did not.
Right.
And there's a few players to call out, but I don't want to jump too quickly if you had any other thoughts on this offense.
Yeah, the Ohtani piece is really frustrating, I think, because he has some good at-bats, but there are some times where he will just absolutely swing out of his shoes at a ball that's not even close to the zone. He chases a lot. He's been chasing a lot this postseason, and it has been very frustrating because it feels like he comes up in these situations where you need him to come through, and he just hasn't. It's like if Ohtani was actually, let's take Pages out of the equation. We've already kind of bashed him, and rightfully so. That was a terrible at-bat. If Ohtani hits a home run there or a double or a single, there's a chance you can put that game out of reach right there. And you don't know what could happen with a 3-run lead, a 4-run lead, a 5-run lead at that point. For Snell, who had been struggling at that point, maybe he settles into it and he's not trying to walk such a tightrope toward the end of his outing.
Yeah. Appreciate people tuning into the live feed. Make sure to hit that like button. If you're new to the show, make sure you're a subscriber. We'll take some questions along the way as well. So hit us with your best questions. All right, let's get into Blake Snell. Like, the reality is Blake Snell he wasn't good tonight. And I know part of that was the inherited runners that kind of ballooned his box score, but kind of throughout the game, like Snell just wasn't locked in like he was his previous 3 playoff starts. And I mean, part of that is to the Blue Jays' credit. I mean, they were fouling off a lot of pitches that Snell was throwing at them. And to be exact, they fouled off 22 pitches that Blake Snell threw. And he just wasn't getting the same whiffs and swings and misses like he was in his previous starts. It felt like the fastball didn't have the same command like it had in his previous outings. I'm thinking in particular to that first at-bat with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., where I know ultimately he didn't score, but he threw a few pitches up in the zone that were clearly balls, and I don't know if his intent was to walk Vladdy Jr. on like 6 or 7 pitches, whatever it was, but he didn't locate his pitches there. He gave up a base hit to Bo Bichette. He then later on in the game gave a complete cookie to Dalton Varsho. There was like a no doubt about it rocket to dead center field. That was what tied up the game. But yeah, I mean, Blake Snell just wasn't sharp tonight, and he only went 5 innings. He gave up 5 runs. He allowed 8 hits, had 3 walks. So the Blue Jays were able to run all over him tonight. He wasn't fooling anyone.
You know what was interesting, though, is the the sequence against Dalton Varsho, because in the bottom of the first, my God, I can't believe it was in the first inning. He gets 2 quick outs, and then Vladimir Guerrero walks, and Bo Bichette hits a little, seeing eye single through the right side. Then he walks Alejandro Kirk, who's another guy who was just a thorn in the Dodgers side tonight. Then Dalton Varsho comes up and he flies out, but basically he threw 4 pitches to him. All of them were breaking balls: curveball, slider, curveball, and got him out. And then when Varsho came up later in the game and hit that absolute nuke off of him, he throws him a fastball like right over the middle of the plate, and he crushed it. And I'm just wondering why even go to the fastball if the curveball off speed was working against him. And that was just one mistake he just couldn't make. With the 2-run lead and the Dodgers offense really kind of going to sleep after they scored 2 runs, you just can't make that pitch there. But yeah, I mean, Snell, look, he's been great overall in this postseason. We've praised him the entire time because he's been absolutely dominant. So the fact that he had a bad game tonight is like, okay, he's not a robot, so he's going to have a bad outing. The problem I'm having right now with this Dodgers offense is that it just is not pulverizing anybody. It's just every night, it's just we scratch just enough across to win games, but we're not, bashing these teams like we know we can. We build innings, and I'll say this: the at-bat quality was actually pretty great through the first few innings against Yasevich. They were making him work. They were making him throw pitches. They were drawing walks. They were battling him. And that should have been the recipe. They just couldn't knock him out. That's the whole thing. It's like these starting pitchers are going to have bad outings. This offense needs to carry this team. They need to pick up their pitchers, and they just didn't do that tonight. And then that horrendous 6th inning happened, and that was it.
Yeah, one other thing is I can't believe how foolish Fluharty made Ohtani look tonight. Like, how do you take that pitch for strike 3? Like, where's the aggressiveness from Ohtani? But yeah, getting into the 6th inning. So honestly, this is where I think the game was lost. If there's one thing I'm going to blame tonight, it's the Dodgers bullpen. It was the theme all regular season. They were a liability. There were many sporadic times where they just imploded or couldn't be trusted. I don't fault Dave Roberts for keeping Blake Snell out there in the 6th inning, and it unfortunately leading to the bases being loaded. I do feel like the Blue Jays kind of ran into some BABIP luck, and they weren't hitting the ball hard either in that moment. They just happened to be getting on base with singles and walks. But my issue is the first man out of the bullpen, it should not have been Emmett Sheehan. And here's why. Naturally, Emmett Sheehan is a starting pitcher. So he's used to coming into a game with a clean slate. He has very few moments in his entire big league career where he had to come into a situation with runners on base, let alone the bases loaded. Like, you're just asking for trouble with inherited runners. And as high as I am on Sheehan, the facts speak for itself. He's not been good in the playoffs. So I feel like that was not a welcome opportunity to go with Sheehan as your first guy in the bullpen, a guy with like no experience putting out fires. And honestly, after Sheehan's performance tonight, I am not trusting him in high leverage again this World Series run. Like, he can be in the back with Kershaw sipping some beers. Like, I am done with Emmett Sheehan in high leverage. I've seen enough. He lost us the game tonight.
I think it's partly right execution from these relievers that just didn't get the job done. But I honestly put more blame on Dave Roberts here. You just don't put Emmett Sheehan in that spot. I mean, that is an impossible spot. Bases loaded, nobody out. We have a tie game and we're on the road. I mean, that is just the worst scenario to put that pitcher in. Sometimes I'm like, Dave, do you not know your own roster? Like, this was insane to me. And again, it's like the other argument is like this bullpen has been bad all year, so there's really not a lot of options here in that spot. But you got to go with a traditional reliever. It's got to be Treinen. It's got to be Dreyer. And I would have said Bonda, but Bonda just was awful tonight. But I wouldn't have even gone to Bonda in that situation anyway. You go with a guy that has had experience there and you live with that. Because if you bring in Trinan, there's no guarantee that Trinan is going to be able to do the job. I mean, especially with this Blue Jays team just being so like unbelievably like pesky at the plate. They could have easily hit Trinan too, or laid off those sweepers that he has, fouled things off, and just worked him to death. But I just think like you can't go with Sheehan there. You just got to go with someone else and just live with that. And it sucks because we just don't have that great bullpen like we had last year, where you could go to Kopech, you could go to Phillips, you could go to Trinan, who was great. I mean, you had even Kasparius, like you could go to guys that could really get the job done. And for Sheehan to be the first one out of the pen, it's just like, why was he even warming up in that inning? Don't have him come in with runners on base anyway, let alone bases loaded, nobody out.
I just feel like Sheehan doesn't really have the profile either of inducing a lot of ground balls. He's more of a swing and miss guy, and clearly the Blue Jays are not a swing and miss team. But yeah, the name that needs to be first one out of the bullpen in this situation is Blake Trinan. I do not care how inconsistent Blake Trinan has been. I think he's proven enough in these playoffs that he should be your first guy out of the bullpen in a massive fire situation where the house is about to collapse, because this guy has proven a lot of times in his career that he can get out of it. Even if Blake Trinan gives up 1 or 2 runs, I'm okay with that outcome, because that would have probably been a salvageable situation where maybe the Dodgers are trailing 4-2 after the inning. But even if they're down just a couple runs, I feel like the offense has proven they have enough fight to come back. But not going to Blake Trinan, I think, was kind of catastrophic, and obviously the results speak for itself. But I mean, Blake Trinan did it in 2020? He came in with the bases loaded, and that was part of that Justin Turner magical tag that helped get him out of the inning. Trinan throws a sinker, he can induce ground ball double plays. Like, you got to go with Blake Trinan there. And then on top of that, I don't mind them going to Anthony Bonda at this point, but Jesus Christ, what the hell are you doing, Anthony Bonda? Like, that is the ultimate stinker. Like, he looked like Michael Grove or Noah Syndergaard out there. He gave up what, 2 home runs? He got absolutely annihilated. I mean, he gave up the home runs to, I think, Barger and Kirk, if I have that correctly. He was awful. Like, Anthony Bonda, Emmett Sheehan, they were all just straight trash. It was like something that hasn't been done in a World Series since, what was it, like the 50s? The amount of runs they gave up in one inning, 9 runs in one inning. That's disgraceful.
It was. That pitch he hung to Barger, my God, that was just absolutely tattooed. And then the Alejandro Kirk one was just for good measure. But yeah, at that point, the game was well over. Well over. And yeah, it just sucks, It sucks. And I don't know when we want to talk about Alex Vesia, but that's a tough situation. And not having him available is tough there, especially when you just don't have a lot of guys you can trust. But even still, like, I don't know if I would, even if we had Vesia available, I don't even know if I would have gone to him there. I probably would have. My only thought was Trinan. I was like, Trinan's got to be the guy. You got Jack Dreyer even. It's like you got to just have guys that are traditional relievers warming up behind starting pitchers in order to get them out of those innings. Like, that is what their job is. That's what they're designed to do. So the fact that they had Sheehan warming up at all, I just don't understand that.
Sheehan got 1 out. He has a ERA over 17 in the playoffs. He's just been disgustingly bad. Alex Vesia, yeah, it's really I don't have all the details, and I don't want to throw theories out there, but obviously praying for both Alex and his wife with whatever's going on within internally in their family. Not having him right now is definitely a huge loss one way or another, because in my opinion, he's our second best option out of the bullpen, regardless. I'd go Sasaki 1, Vesia 2. So yeah, losing Vesia is going to hurt, and because of that, whether it's Henriquez that made it or Will Klein made it, one of those two now gets a shot. And so next man up mentality, they got to step up. And after tonight, Will Klein or Henriquez, you're in over Sheehan. Get ready.
I mean, Klein looked actually all right. I mean, yeah, it was garbage time, but I mean, he looked pretty good. I have to imagine that they're going to do that. And my thought, okay, because I was watching this game and I was really thinking about how the Dodgers were just not able to get these Blue Jays hitters out. They were getting them to 2 strikes on a lot of pitches, whether it was Sheehan or Snell or even Bonda for that matter, and they just were not putting guys away. They just could not get them out. So how do they do it? I think Blake Snell, his problem was his command, because the only ball that was really hit hard was that Dalton Varsho home run. The other hits were little dunkers, Ernie Clement sticking his bat out there, and Bo Bichette squirting it through the right side. I mean, it was just that kind of stuff. So I just think better command from him probably would have gotten him a lot more, soft contact out, so to speak. But man, if they're going to be fighting at bats like that and not striking out, it's going to be really tough to get these guys out. I mean, what are your thoughts? I know we'll probably talk about Game 2 in Yamamoto, but just your feelings about this offense, this Blue Jays offense.
I mean, I don't want to throw false accusations out there, but I mean, this felt like 2017 all over again, where they just weren't missing at anything. And I'm like, this Blue Jays team was not good last season. They did not make the playoffs. Now all of a sudden they're this electric force that can't be stopped. Blake Snell was mowing through everyone he faced. Tonight he couldn't fool anybody. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Snell's command he just didn't have it. I thought the rest, the time off, the studying that Snell's proven he's putting in, he'd be locked in tonight. But I don't know if it was the pressure in Toronto or he just wasn't feeling good. But yeah, Blake Snell just was bad. But I think going into tomorrow, I mean, the Dodgers offense, it's going to be essential for them to grab an early lead and this time not blow it. Like, they got to get Yamamoto some run support, because I highly doubt he's going to throw 6 or 7 scoreless. Like, this Blue Jays team has just been relentless.
Yeah, and they're going to have a tough assignment with Gossman on the mound tomorrow. So I'm a little worried. They say that a series doesn't really start until the road team wins a game. So even if they do drop Game 2, they got to beat us at our own home ballpark. But boy, going down 0-2 is just never a good spot to be in, no matter what, if you're the home team or if you have home field advantage or not. Like, it is a really bad spot to be in. So I'm hopeful that this gut punch kind of wakes this team up a little bit. And I hope that Ohtani heard those chants tonight where they said that we don't need you, we don't want you, we don't need you, I think was the chant. I hope he heard that, because I'm hoping that it's like a Kobe situation or a Michael Jordan situation where they get pissed off and then you see what it's like to piss them off, and it's not good. So I'm hopeful that Ohtani kind of just, is locked in. The interesting part about his home run tonight, though, Kevin, did you notice that when he hit it, which was like that, that Chris Paul meme, where they're down like 45 and he hits a 3,
Fortunately,
he sprinted around the bases. Like, it was almost like he was like, I don't want to celebrate any of this. It doesn't mean anything. Get me back in the dugout and let's move on. I kind of like that attitude from him, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to flex on a home run when you're down like 11-2 at that point.
I mean, Acuna does it.
Well, Otani's built differently. But going back to Andy Pages, because I'm just absolutely furious with Andy Pages. Like, is he in consideration for having the worst postseason performance of all time this deep into a playoff run? He's 3 for 39. That's an 0.77 batting average. And he has 1 RBI, 3 hits, 1 RBI, 225 OPS. That is bad.
At what point do you consider someone else? At what point do you consider Alex Call, for example? Because I guarantee you in that spot, if Alex Call was in the spot that Pages was in tonight, he's walking there.
Yeah.
100%. Alex Call he's just got a great eye, and he's so unselfish, and his at-bat quality is better than Pages's. So I don't know. At what point do you decide to make some kind of change here? Of course, that
If they
would
lose
throw
tomorrow,
off the.
yeah, if they lose tomorrow and Pages is a non-factor after tomorrow.
I was saying that if you put Alex Call in there, it kind of messes up the defensive alignment. So I don't know what you would do. I guess you'd move Kike to center field.
Yeah. Why not?
I just think that Alex Call works a better at bat there than him. And I think it's the case that maybe Dave Roberts is struggling with, which is Pages has been our guy all season. He's had a great year, and Roberts is never one to just pull a guy like prematurely or quickly. So I don't know if he's still like, trying to believe in him, but if you're going to put him in the 9 hole, he's got to do better. Like that is a very important part of the lineup. You're hitting in front of Ohtani. That is a very important part of the lineup, that you just cannot have a guy who takes these selfish at-bats like he does in that spot. You just can't do it. I mean, especially if he's not hitting home runs. Be one thing if he was crushing the ball. He can't even put the bat on it.
The argument earlier to keep Pages in was they weren't losing games with him in the lineup, so you could live with his defense. But now that you're finding yourself in a hole, it kind of changes the narrative. And I think that's where Roberts does make adjustments. I mean, he benched Teoscar earlier in the year. He benched Mookie earlier in the year. He has benched guys if they are in a slump and the team is slumping on top of that. And so I don't think that exception is going to apply in the postseason. And so I think they would make the move. So I think you have to, because Call has the discipline, like you mentioned, and the Jays don't have a ton of strikeout guys in their entire pitching staff. Like they gave it to Pages and he blew it.
Yep. I'm hopeful that with the Dodgers now having a slew of right-handed starters lined up against the Blue Jays, we're going to have a better shot. And maybe it was the fact that they hit left-handed pitching well, or that they have a predominantly right-handed lineup, that they were able to get to Snell and Bonda and the rest of those guys. So I'm hopeful that with Yamamoto lined up, Glasnow, Ohtani, we'll have a better shot. But it is tough to get these Jays hitters out. They just do not strike out. And so that's a big part of the Dodgers game. So it's going to be interesting how they decide to maybe change up their strategy of how to attack these guys. I mean, it's got to be pitching to contact and trying to get soft contact, right?
Yeah. See the chat kind of going off. Appreciate all you guys. If you haven't hit that like button for us, please hit the like button. We'll take some questions now. So drop your questions for me or Jake, and we'll try to go through them. Not the most fun game to talk about. Previewing for tomorrow, we talked about Yamamoto versus Kevin Gausman. Yamamoto's, he's gonna have to be able to locate his pitches at the end of the day. Like the thing that makes Yamamoto so successful is him getting those corners, and so that's definitely going to be a key strategy to keeping the Toronto Blue Jays in check. Because they've proven that they don't swing and miss and they don't chase pitches out of the zone. So for Yamamoto, locating that fastball, hitting the corners, getting that splitter to deceive hitters, like he's going to have to bring his best stuff.
This Dodgers offense needs to impose their will. They just have to. They have to make a statement in this series. They cannot just rely on these starting pitchers that we have to pitch, shutouts every night. I think we've been spoiled with the fact that they have done that throughout the postseason. So, but this Dodgers offense is so much better than this. They have to be better than this. They have to put up more runs. Just have to. You just have to put up more runs.
It's really weird that we got more walks tonight than Toronto. We had 6 walks, and the Blue Jays only had 4 walks. But I mean, being out hit 14-6 and being outscored 11-4 obviously is the difference.
But
I
keep
mean,
that strategy though. That's a winning strategy for us. We just can't.
yeah.
We just did not get the big hit tonight. Keep that like grind it out mentality. Let's work up that pitch count from Gosman. I don't want to see any like first pitch outs or 6 pitch innings. Like this was the strategy. They just did not get the big hit tonight. That's what they need. They need the big hit in the big moment, and it has to happen early on. And that's how they're going to win tomorrow.
I don't know how big of a difference it would have made, but it's just coming back to me now that when Freddie Freeman was thrown out at third base on that Will Smith RBI base hit to score Mookie Betts,
that killed us.
That it's these little things, like it's just the little fundamentals that really screwed the Dodgers tonight. If Andy Paz gets a sac fly or just takes the walk, there's a run. If Freddie Freeman doesn't get thrown out at third base, maybe he gets in and scores. Like, you can't give your opposition free outs. It doesn't end well.
No, it doesn't.
If Teoscar boots something in right field tomorrow, I'm going to lose my mind.
I took some notes during the first half of the game when things were better. Here's something that I noticed. Do you notice that Tommy Edman was not switch hitting tonight? Mm-hmm. He started off the game hitting right-handed against Yasevich. Do you know what that's about?
I don't know in particular, but I will say I saw him do that a couple times in the regular season, where he was just batting right-handed out of nowhere, particularly when he was in slumps. I don't know if it's a certain pitcher profile that he just decides, I'm going to bat right-handed tonight. I don't have the answer, but I don't know if anyone asked that, to be honest.
Yeah, I just found that to be interesting. Maybe it was Yasevich's pitch mix that he can see better from the right side. I don't know, because then later on in the game, he went back to the left side against a right-handed pitcher. So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. I just wrote down, kept letting them off the hook. They had him on the ropes. They just could not knock them out and just let the Blue Jays hang around. That's the thing. It's like this team, you really have to knock them out because they will come back. And so that's a thing where it's like it's not like the Brewers who just have no offensive firepower at all, or the Phillies that just completely shit the bed.
Yeah.
This Blue Jays team is very, very good at coming back in games, just like the Dodgers. I mean, these two were like some of the top teams in comeback wins this season. So you just have to knock them out. That has to be like the big mantra moving forward here.
Yeah, I don't really see any big quotes from tonight. It was basically just, we sucked. I was trying to see if maybe any Dodgers had any comments, but I don't know. I don't really see anything. Just one of those nights. Nights. So I don't really see any questions either. So maybe we are going to shift gears to anything else you want to talk about or final thoughts.
Okay. I think we should talk panic level, because I feel like after a game like this, the panic level can be very, very high, but I'm not going there yet. I told you before we started this, Kevin, that I didn't want to overreact. I don't think we have. I think we've been pretty measured with our takes on what we thought went right versus what we thought went wrong and just where the game was lost. But I think my panic level is like, I'm not panicked because tomorrow's a new day. And, the fact you can't expect the Dodgers to just sweep everybody. So I feel like the Blue Jays are a formidable opponent. You got to respect them. They do have home field advantage for a reason. So tomorrow's a new day, and I like our chances with Yamamoto. I just hope that he has his command, because if he doesn't, we're in trouble. So where's your panic level at?
Tomorrow is a must-win game. If they don't win tomorrow, I'm going to be at a 9 out of 10 panic level. It's just going to be really hard for me to see them overcome an 0-2 deficit, and especially because then they'd have to go back to Toronto no matter what, down trailing in the series most likely. So they have to win tomorrow. I really want to see Dave Roberts be uber aggressive. Like, he has to manage it like it's a game 7 essentially. The big three need to step up. Like, this is ridiculous. I need Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman to play like the MVPs that their pedigree has suggested that they've been for the last decade plus. One of them needs to have a big game. It's time for Mookie Betts to go yard this playoffs. I can't believe he has 0 playoff home runs.
We need something from the big three. Absolutely. They need to make a statement. I was thinking about it in the first inning tonight, and they didn't, they didn't really come through, but I was like, got to just punch him in the mouth right away. Like, take the crowd out of it. You've got Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman coming up in the first inning. Like, that's a huge opportunity to just smack them in the mouth. And I'm hoping that happens. But yeah, we definitely need more from them.
Whew. Well, I'm pondering, I'm thinking, but that might be it, man. That sixth inning will go on for infinity now. Just absolutely trash. Sheehan, Bonda, Snell, you're in there too. You all just need to do better. I don't know what else to say. That was
honestly, I liked what I saw. Can I just tell you what I liked tonight?
Sure.
I liked what I saw from Will Smith. His at-bats were great. He knocked in a run. Loved what I saw from Kike. RBI single. I like the at-bats by Betts. I think, his power is gone away again, but he had a hit and he worked a walk. I just like those at-bats from them. Teoscar Hernandez had some good at-bats tonight. So I was encouraged by the approach tonight. Like I said, they just didn't get the big hit. So I liked what I saw from some of those hitters. Tommy Edman, I liked what I saw too.
There was one other thing I wanted to bring up, and I think you're going to appreciate this. So for the first time in my entire life, I thought Joe Davis, I guess you could say he made a statement. He made a statement that I thought was just absolutely awful broadcasting. So I don't remember the exact moment, but for context, this is definitely well after Andy Pages. I mean, he swung at a clear ball, right? Like, that pitch was not in the zone at all.
Yeah. It was below. It was actually below the one that he took for a ball in the previous pitch.
Yeah, just to make sure we're all on the same page and I'm not like making this up. So yeah, Andy Pages strikes out, clear ball, not even debatable that it was a strike. Joe Davis is just glazing this Dodgers team up. I think someone had just walked or they took a really good pitch, and he makes the comment that the Dodgers they have not swung at anything out of the zone tonight. He's just glazing their discipline. And this is when Andy Pages had just recently struck out on that ball. And I'm like, if people are going to give Brian Anderson criticism for being kind of a Brewers fan, because he is the Brewers' main broadcaster during the NLCS, then we can't cut Joe Davis the same slack, because that was just an egregious statement that just really pissed me off.
Yeah. I mean, and especially from Joe, who knows the team better than anybody. How are you going to say that after you just watched Andy Pages do what he did? It's like the least disciplined thing you could do in that moment. I wish that Pages had the pass the baton mentality. He just doesn't have it. He just does not have it. He cannot help himself. It's just so frustrating. Tonight was just brutal. I mean, that sixth inning where they were just pouring it on. What were you thinking during that time? I was in utter despair.
I was just going off saying, can't believe they put Sheehan in there. I mean, he's not built for this moment. He's never been in these scenarios. He's been bad in the playoffs. If you count all those inherited runners, his ERA is probably like 30 and not 17. At that point, I already had felt defeated and gut punched, so I didn't even care that Bonda gave up those home runs. It just became a mockery at that point. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, even if the outcome didn't work out in our favor, I just feel like you have to go to Blake Trinan there. Like that is why Blake Trinan is on your roster, not to be a closer, not to wait for a clean inning. Blake Trinan is designed and he's built and he embraces these tough moments, and you need to go to him, not Emmett Sheehan. Like, I don't know what Dave's logic there was. I don't even know if they've asked him about it, but it was bad.
Yeah, that was a really bad decision. I don't know what the thought process is there. I don't know why they went to Sheehan there. Like the evidence just does not support it.
It does not.
To me, though, it's the God. The offense had a chance to make this to take these decisions out of the hands of Dave Roberts, and they just didn't capitalize. And so, yeah, just sucks. It just sucks that this bullpen is the way that it is, honestly. But here's the thing: we're still in this series. It's only one loss. The Dodgers can handle that. If they win tomorrow, then it's a massive swing back in our favor, because you win, you get on the plane, you go home, game 3 Monday. I mean, you've got all the momentum.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Blue Jays. So Blue Jays are 40-41 on the road. I don't know what their playoff record was, but I mean, the fact that they won Game 7 in Toronto has me thinking that they must have won the majority of their ALCS games at home as well. So
no, actually, the Mariners took the first 2 games in Toronto, and then the Blue Jays, came back and won the next 2 games. Then Seattle won the 5th game. Then they went back to Toronto, and then they closed it out.
So they won the last 2. They were down 3-2 and won the last 2 in Toronto.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good enough for me. I think the fact that the Blue Jays are just not as dominant on the road as they are at home. I mean, 54-27 during the regular season at home, 40-41 away. Like, that makes tomorrow even more essential, because we cannot find ourselves in a situation where we just gave the Blue Jays 2 wins at home, and now we have to take all 3 basically in Los Angeles. Like, that is asking for way too much. So tomorrow is a must win. I'm treating it like a game 7. Do or die. Lay it all out there. You have the off day, the travel day, so there's no reason to hold anyone back. Sheehan, you can be cheerleader. You can be with Michael Conforto and Tanner Scott. You're in now. We're done. We're done, Emmett. Like, that's it. I don't know. I don't know why the Blue Jays are this good at home. Makes me even more suspicious of them. But for now, I mean, we have to deal with the cards that were dealt. So we got to win.
Got to win. Hang in there, everyone.
All right. Well, I don't see any questions for us, so I think that's our cue to get on out of here. Appreciate everyone tuning in to this post-game World Series Game 1, where the Dodgers got absolutely embarrassed and humiliated by the Toronto Blue Jays. On to Game 2. Everyone have a good night. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. Give us your overall thoughts. Who are you blaming for this Dodgers loss? As a quick recap, Jake, for people that tuned in late, who are you blaming tonight?
I think the way it goes for me is I'm blaming the offense. Number one, I expect more from this offense. I have pretty much throughout the season and postseason at times. So I'm putting that number one. Number 2 is kind of like a tie, or basically the same thing, between Dave Roberts and the bullpen, because I don't believe that Dave Roberts made the right choice of going to Emmett Sheehan and then Bonda, but those guys have to do better just anyway. Like, you got to figure out how to, even if you give up runs in that situation, you got to figure out how to get some outs.
Andy Pa has killed the momentum, but I am going to blame the bullpen at the end of the day. Like, it's your job to keep us in this game, and you failed to do so. If they only gave up 2 runs in the 6th inning, I feel like we could come back, but giving up 9 runs is just unacceptable. So appreciate everyone. Have a great rest of your day. We'll get ready for Game 2 of the World Series, and yeah.